I'm Jacinta Robin, and I am here with your pro-life news update. So I'm sure you are all aware, you diehard pro-lifers are completely aware that Life News is incredible at reporting current pro-life trending news. I just want to go over some of the reports that came in last week. So, top stories include: officials find hundreds of aborted babies thrown into a septic tank in Indonesia. Vice President Mike Pence has said that President Trump has been the most pro-life president that we have ever had in American history. Just amazing. Members of Congress, ideally the Republican members of Congress, took a moment of silence to remember the thousands of babies killed in the Ulrich abortion clinic nearly 20 years ago. That he kept, mind you. Bernie Sanders and Amy Klobuchar voted once again, against the bill that would stop infanticide in the United States. And they said they'll do it again. In addition to this, pro-life legislators hate pro-life men and push for them to get vasectomies. They literally sent in a legislative bill requiring men to get vasectomies. Every pro-lifer that's involved in saving babies from abortions should be aware that Instagram is censoring pro-life posts on a regular basis. And of course, they're not alone. And you guys already know that. The pro-life movement is being censored. That's why this is required, because locations that could funnel a lot of very, very relevant information to a mass majority of people are afraid of talking about this issue. Abortion activists have vandalized pro-life billboards in Pete Buttigieg's hometown. Have you heard anything about that? So much for fairness and looking out for the underdog, Democrats. This is where we are, guys. Let's dive into the Indonesian misery. In Jakarta, Indonesia, it's understood that the illegal abortion facility that was run was stuffing babies that had been aborted into a septic tank. Obviously, they clogged the septic tank, and when they were discovered, it was hundreds of them that were uncovered. That's just ridiculous. Way to make money, right? Snuffing out little babies, throwing them in a septic tank. Tempo reports, Jakarta Metro Police spokesman Sir Komra Yursi Yunus believes that there may have been as many as 903 aborted babies in a facility septic tank in Pasben, Central Jakarta. On Friday, Yursi told reports that police arrested 3 people in connection to illegal abortion facility activity, and their investigation is continuing. This is where we're at, guys. 903 babies stuffed in a septic tank. Stuffed in a septic tank. And that's their way of protecting their young. It's appalling. There's just no other word for that. It's absolutely appalling. If it was any kind of human waste that was stuffed in a septic tank that wasn't supposed to be in a septic tank, like arms or legs, that would be appalling. But these are developing children, all stuffed in a septic tank. Almost 1,000. Our members of Congress decided to take a moment of silence to commemorate the 2,000 children that were buried in honor of their miserable demise at the hands of Ulrich So Republican Jackie Walorski led the House of Representatives in a moment of silence to commemorate the 2,411 unborn children whose remains were buried in a dignified ceremony after being stored for nearly 20 years by the property of the Indiana abortionist Ulrich Klopfer. Such a callous disregard for human life. This should take us at the core. This is the word of Congressman Walorski. She says these children deserved justice and dignity. Madam Speaker, I ask for my colleagues to join me in a moment of silence for the thousands of innocent victims that were laid to rest yesterday. So appropriate. After discovering almost 2,000 babies that were maintained by this abortionist, which, mind you, is something that serial killers do, right? They like to preserve their victims. I mean, are you guys seeing this trend that's happened with Gosnell? You know, they just store the bodies of the people that they got rid of. The irony is amazing. I don't know why you would keep remains of any sort of surgery, which is what the left likes to call an abortion procedure. I don't see kidney surgeons maintaining kidneys upon kidneys upon kidneys, but you'll see these abortionists maintaining these little babies for years. They preserve them so that they can hold on to them. Isn't that eerie? Moving right along. Vice President Mike Pence has said that Trump has been the most pro-life president that we've ever had in American history. More pro-life than Jeb Bush, more pro-life than George Bush, more pro-life than his father, more pro-life than Clinton, of course, and of course, more pro-life than Obama. People that actually care about the littlest citizens of the United States. People like Donald Trump are actually going to save these babies from being miserably torn apart and buried in who knows where. Mike Pence says since the first day in office, our President Trump did everything he could to prevent. Mike Pence says that since the first day in office, President Trump did absolutely everything he could to prevent our taxpayers from going to Planned Parenthood. Thank you, President Trump, for being fair. In one of his first acts as a president, Trump reinstated and expanded the Mexico City policy, which prohibits taxpayers' funding to groups that promote and provide abortions overseas. Also a win for the pro-life movement. This change defunded Planned Parenthood's international arm of about $100 million in our U.S. tax dollars. Hallelujah. We need more. Thank you, President Trump. Please keep up the good work. I'm voting for you in November. Moving right along. Bernie Sanders and Amy Klobuchar. I don't even need to say anymore, right? Once I say those two names in the same sentence, you know it's a problem. But anyways, Bernie Sanders and Amy Klobuchar voted against a bill that would stop infanticide. It's supposedly they're going to be doing it again the next time they get a chance to vote on it. So we're just basically talking about the same thing here, again and again. So 1 year ago, this month, the Senate Democrats collectively blocked a request from Republicans to vote on a bill that would stop infanticide and provide medical care to babies that were born for botched abortions. The vote to stop the Democratic filibuster needed 60 votes, but the Democrats stopped the chamber from getting enough votes. Why? How do you not want to vote on a bill that will keep babies from being murdered? I don't really know. I don't know where we are right now. It's a very simple bill. If a baby is born alive from an abortion, why not care for it? I thought if you were born on American soil, you were an American. The baby is born on American soil. It is now American. We don't kill innocent Americans. That's the law. During the debate, several Democrats misled the Senate about the bill and falsely claimed that the measure would ban abortions or ban late-term abortions. They made the usual pro-abortion claims that pro-life lawmakers hate women and somehow the abortion is women's health, even though she birthed the baby. It's no longer a part of her body. The bill would protect the baby, which is an isolated entity at this point, and they still voted against it. These people are insane. The Guttmacher report published that at least 2 babies last year, at least 2 babies were killed because of this right here. Okay, they were born and they were left to die because no legal mandate made it a requirement for the doctors to intervene. This is United States killing its smallest members. I just want people to be aware of that. It is legal for the United States to kill its smallest members after birth in this country. And our Democratic legislators, lawmakers, are okay with that. That is a nightmare, and it needs to be stopped. Senators Bernie Sanders and Amy Klobuchar were among the senators who refused to protect babies who survived abortions, who were left to die. While they voted to support infanticide, President Trump spoke out against infanticide in multiple tweets, saying that this is short of executing babies to let them die after failed abortions. And it is. All it took was for black ink to be on white paper, for children to be born and left to die in this country. That's all it took. And that is where the lawmakers decided to take this issue. If their consciences are left to be this cold, they will take that mentality and apply it to other laws. That is where this applies to absolutely every single human being in this country, in this world. The abortion fight, the fight against abortion, is a civil rights matter. It's not a Catholic versus non-Catholic matter. It's not a Protestant versus non-Christian matter. It's not a moral versus immoral matter. It is a civil rights matter. The minute our legislative groups, which they have, people didn't think it would get to this point when the abortion movement first started. They said it was small, nobody can tell if it's a baby or not, as long as it's not viable, as long as there's no quickening, we should be able to get rid of it. That was their first mantra, and it's led us to this, that after the baby is born, we can let it die. Eventually, that's going to become, after the baby is born, we can kill it, which is what the Virginia governor was actually advocating for. We're just one step away from that, and it's only going to get worse. It'll be to a point where you can have a 2-year-old that you can no longer care for, and you don't want to give up for an adoption. You can have that 2-year-old killed. Do not tell me that it will not progress to that point, because we have taken it to where it is now. I need you guys to be aware of that. It is only going to get worse unless you get involved. If we are okay with killing the smallest members of our society, we will be all right with doing absolutely anything. And it will be an issue that's sitting on your back door pretty soon if you don't do something about it. This is really crazy. So, the Senate's supposed to vote soon on The Senate will soon vote on 2 major pro-life bills to ban late-term abortions. on babies capable of feeling excruciating pain during his abortions, and this bill will stop infanticide and protect babies who survive abortions. Bernie Sanders and Amy Klobuchar said that they will not show support of either pro-life measure. Since that vote, Sanders has confirmed his support for abortions up to birth with no compromise. He says when it comes to abortion, there is no middle ground. See? He wasn't one of those people that thought that it should stop at quickening or at viability. That's the kind of mentality this kind of legislation approves of, a progressive mentality where there is no cap. After the Alabama bill was passed to ban abortions, Sanders literally called babies being killed through abortions a constitutional right. He called killing babies a constitutional right. There you have it. It's now a right for us to be able to kill our child. Why stop at babies? Why not teenagers? I'm sure they cause parents a lot more grief than infants do. This is ludicrous. In January 2018, Bernie Sanders voted against a bill that would ban late-term abortions, a bill that would have saved, up till now, 18,000 little baby lives. And it's only going to get worse. He's only going to allow more. He needs people that are radical to be on his side because this is a radical view. So if you're going to keep radicals, you have to be more radical. It's only going to get worse. I need everybody to be aware of this. I need all hands on deck. I need all people that want to get involved to please get involved. Make sure you turn out at the ballot. Make sure you vote red this year and in the next primaries to come. We cannot allow the Democrats to have full majority anywhere in the House or the Senate, and of course not in the presidency. It is imperative. Otherwise, we're going to have a lot of blood on our hands.